Hello, hello. My name is Carol Yacobucci, and I am so privileged to have my friend Marie Morin here with me. Marie is a licensed therapist and a wellness coach, and she is one of the co-authors of our book behind me here, Belongings: Secrets to Soothe the Soul. And Marie has a really amazing chapter in here called The Heat and Sweetness of Family. And she talks about a lot of different things that have transitioned in her family and how they all had to deal with that. So Marie, would you like to tell us a little bit about your chapter?
Hi, Carol. Thanks. Yeah, I'm so excited because we gathered as a group of 9 women and I guess grew into this project of growing ourselves and growing our relationship with each other. And we started writing these stories, and now we have this book that's going to be coming out soon. But what my story kind of evolved from was remembering my childhood and navigating sort of and that's why it was heat and sweetness, the intense stuff, which every family has, and then the sweet stuff. And so I talked a lot about how there was this kind of dichotomy, this sometimes there was really good things and sometimes there wasn't such great things. And it taught, I guess the focus of it is family dysfunction and how when, a parent or parents aren't perfect, are imperfect, and they bring on their baggage into their parenting and how that can reflect with a child. So it's my story. It's a very intimate story with my mom. And sometimes when I even think of the story, it brings me to tears. And God rest her soul. My mom is gone since 2006, but I'm so glad that um, the story helped me to see her and myself in a very different light.
Oh, that's that's so nice. Um, that you're able to reflect back and look at your life and your mom and come to terms with everything that has gone on. And what's really nice about the whole thing is that is kind of the work that you do now, isn't it?
Yeah. So, we hear a lot of people talk about toxic behaviors and trauma and what happens, and then the sense of disconnection from if families being so difficult to navigate that somebody cuts off. And we think of estrangement as when someone just takes off physically, but there's also emotional estrangement where you cut off in your emotions, where you just don't give them trust. And there's this chasm and distance. And so it's interesting because now I do a YouTube channel that focuses on bringing light to both the adult child and parents and family members that they've either needed to create distance or someone has distance from them, because it's a really challenging place to be, and there's no way to just whitewash it. It's something that hurts us emotionally. So yeah, so that's what I do. I try and inform and bring hope, that it doesn't have to always be so challenging and difficult, that there is life after, and in spite of the challenges that we've had in family.
Right. And like you mentioned too, we don't always think about this, but it's difficult for both sides of the party. The person who went away for whatever reason, they had, and the person who was left behind wondering, you know, why this happened, right? So it's looking at both sides of it. Um,
Yeah.
you know, in a description in your chapter, you talk about in your childhood the walls around your family home. There
Mm.
was fence and there were bushes, and that in a way it kind of kept people out. And to me, it's kind of like a metaphor of the walls that we put up around ourselves too.
Yeah, you know what? It's so true because I talk a lot about creating a boundary, and some people, and I remember this from doing a lot of work in codependency, that we create a fence around us, and sometimes people build a wall, and I look at estrangement as like this solid wall of, like, you're not coming in, I have no trust for you, and there's reasons for that. Boundaries are to create a fence so it protects us from being hurt. But I think that the relationship of the two was, this level of safety. And, well, is my world safe? And my mom and dad, they put this large fence around to protect the dogs. But I think in many ways it was a signal of saying the world is unsafe and this is our own little nest. So, I appreciate you mentioning that, because that's still a very vivid picture and so much a part of my childhood.
Yeah. Well, it's just a beautiful story, and there's so many beautiful stories here in our book, and it all is centering around the idea of where do we belong and how do we learn to belong. And so we're really excited for you to get our book. It's coming soon. It's at the publishers, right? And so more information to come on that. But I just wanted to thank Marie so much for coming on and telling us a little bit about herself and her chapter. So thank you, Marie.
Thank you, Carol. I just want to mention something else, that the book is filled with so many different kinds of stories that it's a privilege to be a part of not only the community of women, but to realize that as humans, we each have our story of belonging, of whether we feel like we don't belong or we're yearning to belong. And I see this book as so transformative. It was for us, but I feel like you just can't help, when reading the stories, of feeling and seeing all of the layers of what belonging means. And it's kind of like, it's just, it does soothe the soul.
Yes, yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you, Marie.